Hey photographer, Jessica Whitaker here. I'm comparing the 50mm 1.2 Canon RF lens against the EF on a mirrorless camera body from Canon. Thank you to my sponsor, KEH Camera, for making this free photography video possible. KEH is where you can buy, sell, trade in, and repair your used camera equipment for significantly cheaper than purchasing new. I'll talk more about them a little later on. Let's quickly go over the basics. EF lenses, which is what I'm holding here, are created for the DSLR cameras, and the RF lenses are created to be used with the mirrorless cameras. However, you can use the EF lens on a mirrorless camera if you have an adapter, which I'll talk about in a moment. You cannot use RF lenses on a DSLR camera. So the question that a lot of people are asking, at least in my free photography Facebook group called Build and Bloom, if they're wanting to upgrade from a DSLR and go to a mirrorless, should they switch out all of their lenses from EF to the RF lens? The cost difference is significant, and this is what hinders a lot of people from switching, but is it actually necessary to switch? We'll talk about that in a second. So the EF Canon 50mm 1.2 lens on KEH, which is the used marketplace, goes for $760 in the excellent condition. If you were to purchase this new on the Canon website, you're looking at $1,400. The RF version, if you were to purchase used on KEH, is $1,900. So we're already looking at $760 versus $1,900, and this is used. If you were to buy the RF lens brand new on the Canon website, you're looking at $2,100. The cost difference between these lenses, if you were to buy used on KEH, is $1,140. Lastly, with price, you would have to buy a mount adapter for your mirrorless camera if you want to continue using your old EF lenses, and that price is $140. Let's go over some of the technical differences between these two lenses. Now, I teach photography to beginners here on my YouTube channel from a very practical perspective. My videos empower you to be able to make a decision if something is a good fit for you, your business, your lifestyle, and for your budget. I'm brushing on the technicalities in this video, but if you want the full list of the specifications, I will have both lenses linked down below, as well as any other resources that I mentioned. Check out the description box. Let's talk about the closest focusing distance. So this is how close your subject can get to the lens with it being in focus. The EF lens is 1.48 feet. The RF is 1.31 feet. So your subject can get a bit closer to this lens, but it's not that big of a difference, so I don't really think it matters too much. The lens construction. So for the EF lens, you have 8 elements in 6 groups. With the RF, you have 15 elements in 9 groups. However, the main difference is how the lenses perform when attached to the camera itself and when you're shooting. And I'll talk about that a little bit later on. But when it comes to the similarities, both lenses are water resistant in their design. They're also dust resistant, and neither lenses have image stabilization. Aperture range of both of these lenses goes from 1.2 all the way up to f/16. Let's go into using the camera itself, because this is where the main differences come out in the user experience. I first want to share with you side-by-side lens comparison shots. So I've done one in natural lighting with an overcast sky, and then a few hours later, same model, same day, but we shoot in low lighting with a few artificial street lights. I'm going to put on the screen the unedited photos, and then I also want to include the edited final result that I would send over to a client. The camera that I used to shoot these photos on was the Canon R. Now I'll share with you those photos, and there'll also be the settings on the screen. Now that you've seen side-by-side lens comparisons, I want to share with you my personal experience. The camera that I personally own is the Canon 5D Mark IV, and for a couple of years now, I have debated about upgrading to mirrorless. And I've been able to try out a few different models from Canon, but my favorite at the moment would be the Canon R5. I actually was able to take that over to New York City, where I have a lot of my photography clients, and use the R5 paired with all RF lenses. I've experienced a wide range from mixing EF and RF lenses in all different scenarios, and those opportunities were in partnership with KEH, who is also sponsoring this video. KEH is where you can buy, sell, trade in, and repair your used camera equipment, both film and digital. Every single piece of equipment that goes through their warehouse is quality inspected, tested, and transparently rated on their website versus going onto a social media marketplace or a third-party auction site or just a friend of a friend's social media story that they posted. You have no idea what you're actually purchasing, unlike on KEH. When I spoke about pricing at the beginning of this video, I mentioned that you could get the 50mm EF lens from Canon on KEH for $760, and this would be in excellent condition. If you were to purchase this lens new, you're looking at $1,400. Every item is rated on a quality scale, so it goes from excellent plus, which is about like new, all the way down to bargain. And bargain is where you're gonna have some cosmetic wear and tear on the equipment, but it doesn't affect the actual picture quality. But because of this wear and tear, you're able to save hundreds of dollars. I've been partnered with KEH for years, and so many members of my Build and Bloom photography community over on Facebook have raved about their own experience with KEH. Regardless of what level photography you are at, KEH is an incredible resource that I recommend you guys checking out. I do have a coupon code and a selling bonus if you are interested. It'll be on the screen here and linked in the description box below. Let's talk about using the lenses on the camera. So like I've said, I have used a variety of different mirrorless Canon cameras over the years and have mixed up the RF and the EF lens as I've shot a wide variety of different types of subjects and different lighting. And my overall consensus from my personal perspective is that if you use the RF lenses, the ones that are created for the mirrorless camera, the focusing is much faster and smoother versus using an EF lens with an adapter. However, this is only in certain lighting situations. So number one, when I'm shooting in low lighting, the RF lens is so much faster to focus and more accurate, and when I'm shooting in backlighting. However, when it comes to shooting in a natural light studio situation in somebody's home with gorgeous natural light, or what I typically shoot outdoors in natural light, overcast skies, there is not a difference when it comes to focusing. It's going to be a little bit faster, but it's not worth that price point difference. So if you are a wedding photographer, or if you do a lot of family photos, then I do think that getting the RF lenses would greatly benefit you. But if you are a photographer like myself who specializes in portrait photography, not working in that fast-paced, high-pressure environment, and family photos, when you have little kids especially, you do need to have equipment that can keep up with them moving and switching around. And since it's very popular to do family photography during golden hour where you have that amazing creamy backlighting, you're gonna be able to get the shot much faster and more accurately if you're using an RF lens. Here's a perspective to consider when it comes to buying RF lenses. If you are a photographer who has shot with a DSLR and you have accumulated a collection of EF lenses that you use on every single shoot, and maybe that's 3 or 4 different lenses, and that cost to sell those lenses is about the price of 1 or 2 RF lenses, I'd say stick to the EF lenses. Stick to what you have and simply purchase one of those $140 adapters. What I would suggest is to save up for 1 or 2 of the focal length that you use the most. So for myself, that would be a 50mm and an 85mm, and make a wise purchasing decision. Don't just dump $4,000 into it. You want to gradually save. It might take you a year, but that's better than going into credit card debt. We do not want to go into debt for anything in our business, but especially for things that we do not actually need, such as an RF lens when you already have a perfectly good EF lens. And buy the RF lens used on KEH. This is how you're going to be able to save hundreds of dollars. It's gently used. If you are a wedding photographer, family portrait photographer, you do events, like I said, I do think the RF lenses are worth it for you. However, there's a caveat. Do you have enough photo shoots booked out to be able to justify the cost? The last option to consider would be to sell your EF lenses on KEH and either get cash for them or exchange them directly on the website for RF lenses. So you're being able to upgrade, but you're also being able to clear out your camera bag and those lenses that are likely collecting dust on your bookshelf and sell them on KEH. Here's the thing, let's end off like this. If you have the cash, keyword being cash, you're not gonna go into debt for your business for this upgrade, then go ahead and upgrade. But at the end of the day, I mean, you saw those edited photos in the lens comparison. The end result images are so similar. Does it actually warrant the several $1,000 price difference? If your photography business has a few unique conditions that you're not sure if an RF or an EF lens would benefit for, check out my free Facebook group called Build and Bloom. This is the place to ask very specific questions about gear, what kind of photography business you do, what you're looking at. You can share everything within the Facebook group, and there are so many members who are kind and encouraging. It's also inclusive for all levels of photography, and we can help you within the group get really detailed about if the switch would make sense for you. Because my comment section is a great place to share your thoughts, but if you want multiple people's perspective for what would be best for you and your business, join the Build and Bloom Facebook group. It's totally free. It's also an incredible free resource if you are experiencing a difficult client situation and you need help drafting response to that, or you want an extra set of eyes on a gallery before you send it off to clients. Build and Bloom over on Facebook groups. I believe in you and I believe in your business, and season 2 of the Build and Bloom Photography Podcast is now available for you to listen and learn wherever you get your podcast. Be sure to hit subscribe so you're the first to know when new free videos for your photography business come out, and I will see you in my next video. Click right here to watch and to learn. I'll see you there.